All right, we have a special treat here, and I did not even, I was not aware of this. But just to show you that I'm fast and think on my feet, Ann Coulter just happened to call today. We were supposed to have her on Friday, but I am always ready for some Ann Coulter. Always ready. Just any day, doesn't matter when it is. Any day you want to pick that phone up, you got the number. I am always ready for Ann Coulter. There's never a bad day for Ann Coulter. Not on this program.
You're going to be sorry, Mike Church. I'm going to start calling every day this time.
You can call every day. You can call after the show. You can call before the show. You come to New Orleans, we'll make sure you get put up at the Four Seasons.
I was there 2 weeks ago.
And we missed you.
I didn't realize. I was pretty quick in, quick out. I was speaking at Tulane for Islamofascism Awareness Week.
I can't believe they let you on the Tulane campus.
Well, since I was speaking against Islamofascism, which apparently the little darlings were upset about. They're waiting for Islamofascism Appreciation Week. I did need a phalanx of security guards. You'd think I was Ahmadinejad.
Well,
Except he got a standing ovation at a college campus.
Well, you may not, I don't know how many times you've been to Tulane, but Tulane here for the locals, for those of us that have lived here our whole lives, we call it Ivy League for dummies. This is for all the kids that couldn't get into Harvard and Yale. All these Northeastern libs send all their kids down here to Tulane. And that's why I said I'm surprised that you spoke at Tulane.
Yeah, well, I write about that in If Democrats Had Any Brains, They'd Be Republicans. This is because it was contrary to my expectation, and I do make fun of Harvard a lot. But I give lots of college speeches, and I've been doing it for 7 or 8 years. And what's interesting is the schools where even liberals are civil and are capable of listening to an opposing point of view without screaming and rioting, and then stand up at the mics during question, and I'll take questions until they collapse of exhaustion, and actually formulate what could be construed as a question, are the Ivy League schools and their equivalents, and in general the Southern schools. The Southern schools just because the South is the best region of the country, and everyone's polite, and the Ivy League schools because they have too much intellectual pride to be screaming out the F word because someone they disagree with is speaking.
Well, I don't know if that applies at Tulane or not because that's kind of a mixed. That's a mixed bag there. A little bit Southern, a little bit Ivy League. But,
right.
But now getting back to Islamofascism Awareness Week, was this part of what's his
the Horowitz thing? Right.
David Horowitz's deal, right?
Yes, and it was. I mean, it was sort of an eye opener for me because generally when I give a college speech, my own college speech on whatever topic I want to talk about, my titles are calculated to irritate liberals, whereas Islamofascism Awareness Week, I mean, seriously, what are they objecting to? They're for Islamofascism, apparently.
Well, I think you already know the answer to that, as you have written about, not just in this book, Democrats Any Brains, They'd Be Republicans, in Godless, in Treason, and the other ones that you've written.
Treason may be the one precisely on point here.
Well, I heard you say on Friday on Neil Cavuto, and we had to rewind the tape because I wanted to make sure I heard it right, and I was just laughing my proverbial behind off. I heard you say it's about time that we turned these pot smokers out and denied their retirement.
Yes.
You were talking now Cavuto, because he does that and he has to do that. I don't have to do that. I can laugh and then go, please tell me more. Please, Ann Coulter, tell me more.
Well, the question is, these Democrats keep saying, Republicans are rooting for Hillary Clinton. That's why they keep saying she's the front runner, because they want to run against Hillary. No, Republicans don't lie like Democrats do. We're talking about her as the front runner because she's the front runner. And as for whether we want her or not, I mean, the question was, is she the easiest one to beat? And I have special expertise in this regard because I think I'm the only person with a job who watched the Democrat debate last week. And I really wish everyone would watch it. It has got to be on YouTube or on the internet someplace, because if more working people had watched it, they'd boil these Democrats in oil. They are completely out of their minds. Half of the Democrats on stage need to be straitjacketed and sedated. So I don't think Hillary is, obviously the easiest one to beat. It's just that I want to run against her to have a final referendum on this rotten, as you say, pot smoking, draft dodging, miserable, egocentric generation. So, impeachment is not enough. We have to run against her and beat her, and then we cut their Social Security.
Right, and I like that idea. In case you haven't, you can't tell, folks, it's Ann Coulter on the line, and we'll promote Ann's book to the fullest extent possible in greater numbers and quantity than anyone else. But let me talk about some other stuff with you. And the book's title, by the way, is "Democrats had any brains, they'd be Republicans."
Yes, you name the topic, I can quote the book on the subject.
Okay, well, this is the subject matter at hand. I was just reading Mark Stein here about 20 years ago today that Alan Bloom's book, The Closing of the American Mind, came out, and about the idea of how there is when you say that Snoop Dogg is great and that 50 Cent is his heir, that's because you don't have anyone to compare him to, because everything is relative here. You're not comparing Snoop Dogg to Mahler. You're not comparing Snoop Dogg to Brahms. Hell, you're not even comparing him to Bill Haley. There is no comparison here when you have eradicated the classics from the landscape, which is what has happened here. So comment on that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, part of this is discussed in Chapter 1, which I do write about a lot about college campuses and what has happened to them. And part of what happened, and part of the reason the students at Harvard are still capable of listening to a speech and answering questions is that these 60s radicals decided they looked good in a beret and to stay on at college campuses. It's a nice life being a college professor. You teach few classes a week, and you can rearrange the college curriculum instead of reading books and testing students on the books they've read. That you can just invite hot co-eds over to your apartment to watch movies, and instead of writing about the movies, they could just sleep together. But Harvard and most of the top schools were a lot harder to storm. No matter how enraging some Harvard and the equivalent professors are, no one with the raw stupidity of Ward Churchill is allowed to teach at a place like Harvard. Whereas at these third and second tier colleges, they are jam-packed with women's studies professors with absolutely no knowledge to impart, who know nothing about anything, but enjoy ginning up the stupidest of their students into a feral rage.
And now this is this we'll just dovetail onto this. The similar subject here. Last summer, you wrote a column called "They Shot the Wrong Lincoln."
Yes.
And you were right, they did. And they did shoot the wrong Lincoln. Now, I had Rush's brother. I had David Limbaugh.
Oh, I love him.
I had David on the other day, and we were yucking it up and had a great conversation. And he was absolutely shocked that I demonized Newt Gingrich. He was like, I can't believe you said it. I'm glad you said it, because I thought I was the only one that thought that way. I'm like, David, this man has sold out the movement. The reason Republicans and conservatives are in trouble is because, damn it, they're not conservatives. When you say that, listen, we're $20 billion socialists when it comes to S-chip, not $40 billion profligate spenders like the Democrats. You have lost the battle, Ann Coulter. These people, we have Republicans. They're phony patriots, not phony soldiers, phony patriots out there, phony conservatives that have cost this movement. Now, talk about that.